This is the ship. Hello, audience. Welcome to another episode of Parliament of Alls, a book that has just come in as a play to replace Inheritance. It's written by Adipo Sidang. I hope you've read this book currently. It's a very thin book, but it has a lot of information. It's pregnant with information. Now, last time we talked about Act 1, and before I continue, I would like to urge you to subscribe to Edutainment for us so that we can have more discussions on literature, Farsi, and other areas within literature. Now, today I'm going to talk about Act 2, and I'll begin with the synopsis and episodes before I go to other matters of the text. The first episode is Parliament in session. When the act opens, you'll see that we have images of owls flying in the new moon, and we have the female voices and with shrills and the male voices with hoots. Now we have loud laughter, and then there's a lot of confusion followed by silence. We move to the second episode of Moneybags as the speaker. The stage opens, and what do we see? We see Moneybags seated as the chair and the speaker's role. He assumes this role and sits in the swiveling of rotating chair. He wears a wig that was imported from the kingdom. Moneybags is allowed to take this role as that is tabled before the parliament. He switches role when he deems so, fitting as all loyal owls are under his payroll. Mr. Speaker, in his baritone voice that is deeper than any other, that of the Moneybags, asks the birds to rise and hoot to the kingdom's anthem and pledge their loyalty to the royal kingdom. They roll their eyeballs in line with the vision of the kingdom. The owls rise and hoot, moving their heads up and down, then pointing their beaks in the sky. Just as Mr. Speaker asks the hall to sit, they begin giving instruction. The owls are given a point of order, and we see that she wants to know why makeup bill for female owls is not included in the bill. She claims that there has been a lot of wind, and that sweeps makeup, leaving their faces naked all the time. Moneybags steps away from the speaker's seat after removing the wig to speak to himself. He says that there is a great bill that has to be passed. That is the Moonlight Bill. And if Socialists all wants to make up, she can call him and he will deliver any time. Moneybags then jumps back to the speaker's seat and takes his role. He thanks Moneybags for saving the situation. Socialist Hall sarcastically thanks Moneybags for successfully passing the bill that took care of them. She further says that they are going to have more fried rats, baked mice, honey, and mayonnaise. She notes that feathered beaks and other rebels will join in singing the same song. Mr. Speaker commends Feathered Beak and Iron Lady and other owls for joining in singing, and quickly states that the debate on the Moonlight Bill is going to give justice to them. Iron Lady reminds Socialite all that the war there must cease fire. She says that today they are ready to defeat the agents of backwardness and dictatorship in the kingdom. Mr. Speaker cuts Iron Lady short and tells her that she's out of order, and so Moneybags also speaks on the point of order. Mr. Speaker makes a harsh order reminding these owls that noise making is prohibited in Parliament. We move to the next episode of No Moonlight Bill. Straight-eyed injects without approval from the Speaker and tells Moneybags that the rebels hoot, while the likes of Moneybags and his friends hoot and loot. That is a kind of accuse. Now we see that Straight-eyed reminds them that the Moonlight Bill shall not see the light of the day, and the rebels shall protect other birds, omnivores and grain eaters, day birds and night birds. Mr. Speaker asks Straight-eyed to withdraw the statement about the kitchen cabinet, but Straight-eyed says that Mr. Speaker will not bully him and that they will choose to defer. Speaker will not bully him at all, and Feathered Beak to speak and give guidance, yet he has many faces. We see Feathered Beak wanting to know why Mr. Speaker is talking like that. There is the next episode of accusation by the self-seeking birds. Moneybags feels that he's been insulted by being called ex officio On point of order, lady says that there's a problem in appointing high office owls that were mere cooks in the royal kitchen. That she says that red string is a puppet of moneybags. Socialite does not understand why Iron Lady had to withdraw her statement and compare owl to birds that are cowardly as chicken. Mr. Speaker threatened to throw Iron Lady from the Parliament because of the statements she's making. Iron Lady asks Mr. Speaker if he's proud that the royal owls eat lizards every last hour of the night, while the other birds cannot even find water. We move on as the Speaker asks Feathered Beak if he's out of mind. Feathered Beak has been out of his mind since the beginning of the meeting. Our lady suggests that the social owl should leave the house immediately. On the contrary, Mr. Speaker tells our lady that she's totally out of order and cannot vote. So we see that Feathered Beak straight-eyed protests. We see socialite owl being assisted by Red String to drag our lady from the Parliament. We get to the next episode of counter-accusation and application. Why counter-accusation? Feathered Beak says that Mr. Speaker, Moneybags, and his girlfriend have denied them a chance to debate. Mr. Speaker also asks Feathered Beak if they don't earn a salary from this parliament. Moneybags asks Feathered Beak and Straight-Eyed why they did not protest the bill that increased the compensation from one fried rat a day to 3 fried rats and frog soup and baked mice with honey and mayonnaise. Straight-Eyed does not see the relationship between the two bills. Moneybags feels that the Feathered Beak and Straight-Eyed are jealous and they will not benefit from the bill that is being passed and that of the tax that will go to the royal trees. He further says that the two, with other rebel owls, have incited other birds, hence they are coming to demonstrate against the Moonlight Bill. Mr. Speaker officially calls the debate on the floor to a close and says that it is time to vote. He quickly says that as many of the similar opinions say A, then there is a chorus of A. And the Speaker then says, may Feathered Beak, together with his group of rebel owls, and as many of contrary opinions say nay. Before they can even answer, he says the ayes have it. Straight-Eyed states that they reject the bill and shall not allow it. But Moneybag says that is now law. Straight-Eyed further says that the bill will undermine the rights of the birds that twitter in the moonlight and the omnivores that they hunt at night. It will introduce illegal tax at the time when birds are faced with hunger. Mr. Speaker cuts in and insists that the bill has already been passed, and if anyone is unhappy, they can petition to the Committee of Vultures. Look at that. Now we get to the next episode of Enlightenment. Feathered Beak makes us know that Moneybags controls their court through his puppets, that he has hired services of Arumtidi to spread cheap lies and propaganda and confuse the nightbirds and omnivores with innuendo and further portray owls that stand for truth as corrupt. And Lady states that she is reliably informed that the law is a secret ploy by money bags to loot funds and the Kufa birds and channel them to the investment of unknown trees in deep forests. The Speaker says that this is a very serious allegation and asks Moneybags to respond. Moneybags tries to evade and later says that he will not take the lies lying down. Mr. Speaker is disappointed by Feathered Beak's comment that is passed here. Now, we have other aspects within the text, language and styles. The first is imagery. Now, when we come to imagery, I normally say it like that because many students don't understand what imagery is. Imagery, there are styles that build mental pictures. So we have similes, we have metaphors, personification, vivid description, sometimes hyperbole can fall under this. Now, when you look at the text, we have similes such as Iron Lady saying the bill was like what? Ceasefire on page 24. He says that you cannot compare the owl to bird as cowardly as chicken. that is page 28. Attack his own reflection like a clown, page 38. They just come just like strong winds, page 39. It looks like a cunning hare, page 54. We have a metaphor in this act. A red string is a puppet of money bags, 27. Personification, bury truth. How can we bury truth? We only bury possibly human beings. Vivid description. Mr. Speaker swivels on the chair and projects his voice with authority. He is wearing the Speaker's wig. His voice is like is a baritone. That is page 22. Moneybags is also said to be very powerful with a voice that soothes, that smoothens, it ignites, it empowers. That is on page 41. If you look at hyperbole, you will see that royal owl is said to eat lizards every night, while the birds cannot find water and they have to fly kilometers to find it. That is page 28. Moneybags also says that they want to have a very big one, page 36, referring to a coming party. The voice says, am I too little for your big eyes, page 50. The veteran P also says that Arum killed himself. He was fighting his own reflection. That's page 61. We have a style ellipsis in the text. You'll see that at some point characters do not finish what they are saying. Like on page 23, Mr. Speaker says, may we all sit and listen to, and does not finish. Iron Lady says, we will, and does not finish, page 24. Moneybag says, are you ex officio or XX, does not finish. Red string says, they will not, then leaves it at page 35. We have sarcasm. The socialite owl in this act sarcastically thanks Moneybags for successfully passing the bill that takes care of them. She says that at least now they are going to have more fried rats, bacon, mice, and mayonnaise. If you look at that, it's a sarcastic statement to show the poor governance that is happening here. We have direct translation. Feathered Pig says, Moneybags together with his girlfriend have stifled our, and we have biblical allusion, where Moneybags says that, Mr. Speaker, your judgment is Solomonic. If you look at Solomonic judgment, you remember the time when we had, he had to use a lot of wisdom in whichever judgments he made. We have rhetoric questions. Rhetoric questions come in the text in situations where we have questions asked and no answers. And if you check in the text, you will see all those styles that are coming up. Then we have to check on character traits. We shall begin with the what? The royal all. Royal all? No, let's begin with Mr. Speaker. He's authoritative. When he's sitting on the chair of the Speaker, we see that he tells the all alls to rise and hoot, and they do. He tells them to show loyalty to the vision of the kingdom, and they do, on page 22 and 23. He's also temperamental. He's quite angry when he tells Straight Eye to withdraw the statement on page 26. He's dictatorial also. It's like when on the floor, he does not want discussions. We see that we have the Straight-Eyed who is daring and tells Moneybags that the rebel hoot and hoot, while Moneybags and Mr. Speaker hoot, and loot. So when you look at that on page 26, it shows that he is quite daring. He's also very firm. Straight-Eyed is quite firm in the way he speaks. He won't allow bullying. And then we see that the feathered beak is a bit daring. He asks Mr. Speaker whom he's talking on behalf, and Moneybags, royals, or those pigs that keep hooting and looting, on page 27, if you look at the text. When you look at the book more, you see other aspects. You can see the character traits of Moneybags, who is arrogant, quite arrogant. When he's speaking, he tells he tells socialite all that if she needs makeup, he's free. He will be delivering it anytime. He also says that not all birds can access their parliament. Hopeless little birds like Oyundi cannot. That is on page 51. And goes ahead to also show that he's quite frank, because he tells straight-eyed that he's jealous that now this bill will not be going to them but the royal trees. That is why he's against it. He's a bit dictatorial because he makes harsh decisions and he does not want anyone to discuss. He even sends Iron Lady out of the parliament. He's a sycophant, or that is why he talks so highly of the royal owls. We saw that he says that they are highly respected by other birds, and he wonders why the ungrateful owl like Iron Lady are still allowed into the house. You know, he praises the royal owl, that because of them, owls can now have baked mice every night and a bowl of full of grasshoppers. He is a schemer, or scheming, because he controls the courts through his puppets, and he hires the service of Arum Tidi so that he can be spreading cheap lies and propaganda and confusing the night birds. He's also quite proud because of he's an instrument of power in parliament. So we get to see Iron Lady too. Iron Lady is shown as being daring. Iron Lady is daring because in Parliament she asks why they have not considered the makeup bill for them. She also asks why they are dictating to them on page 24. She is arrogant because she tells the speaker this is the problem of appointing into high office owls who are mere cooks in the royal owl's kitchen. That is page 27, a bit embarrassing. She's very frank because she talks about moneybags as being drunk with power, and that is why he can do what he does on page 35. We see the socialist owl, who is impatient. She interrupts Mr. Speaker as to find out why the makeup bill of the female owls was not included in the discussion. She is quite sarcastic. She sarcastically thanks moneybags for successfully passing the bill that takes care of them. Osogo. Osogo is a bit rebellious because we see that as she was at the riverbank, she was singing songs that were banned from the kingdom. If we look at the themes from this act, we can see that we have some sort of poor governance. Why? Because now we have the bill that is being passed. The moonlight bill is there to frustrate the day birds and other birds that cannot benefit from its bill. So they are going to have the baked lizards, mayonnaise, honey, at the expense of others who cannot even have it. We have some sort of selfishness also because each of the owls are only defending their own rights and they don't care about what others will go through. We also see some sort of betrayal because now Rumtidi has been hired to always spread rumors. But what happens to him when he challenges the moneybags in court, in parliament? What happens? He ends up dying, and it's out of the plan, a scheme that was planned to end his existence. We also realize selfishness comes out when a lady is demanding for makeup. It's quite sarcastic, to find that someone is demanding for makeup when others cannot afford even water. Birds have to fly a distance before they acquire it. So we realize that possibly there is also change because now birds come singing the revolt songs in parliament, and therefore it shakes the current leaders about what is going to happen. So I've explored this act. Maybe I've left some aspects. Like if I may just go back a bit, I realized that there are songs. If you look at the text, we realize some sort of songs that happen in the chapter. I had not mentioned them, but I have to talk about them. On page 36, that is where we see the song. And this song is a revolt song. The red string says that once Arumtidi accomplishes their mission, then they'll not pay a cent. Red String wonders who will write them songs of victory. And at some point we see Osongo singing a song that was banned from the kingdom. We also see that the latter, they are praising the royal oil using songs. We see Moneybags telling Red Sing that they have fallen into the duty because they have heard the rebellious songs being heard in the kingdom. We also realize when we look at the themes, which I did not explore much, I think you can agree with me that there is a theme of oppression. Why? This oppression comes as Moneybags exposes to us the fact that they have to pay horn bills, peanuts, because they are ignorant, as shown on page 38. We also see that Moneybags tells Black String, I want you to deal with the renegade alls as well. That is page 47. There is misuse of power because Moneybags asks Feathered Beak and Straight-Eyed if they ever protested the bill that was offering them an increment in the compensation from 1 fried rat a day to 3 fried rats, frog soup, and baked mice, honey, and mayonnaise on page 30. It shows that owls have been passing laws to offer them care while leaving other animals. Moneybags also says that they will take advantage of Arumtidi's desperation to use him and dump him. That is page 36. Telltale was instructed earlier in the night to spread lies of the entire gathering of the day birds and grain eaters. There will also be a plan to kill some birds, as shown on page 34. There is an aspect of corruption because Straight-Eyed says that as rebels hoot and hoot, Mr. Speaker, and Moneybags do hoot and loot on page 26. And looting is a form of corruption. Straight-Eyed says that the bill is going to introduce an illegal tax, page 33. Moneybags also tells Black String to make a visit to Telltale and double their offer to her. That is page 46. We have some sort of oppression and violence. Iron Lady is dragged from the floor and kicked out of the chamber by Socialite Owl and Red String, page 29. We have pain and suffering. Red String heard Osogo sing. They took him back to their sad days. There was pain, there was sorrow, page 40. There was violence also in the text. I talked about it, but I can add something on when Iron Lady is totally told she's out of order, she cannot vote. She protests, but nobody can listen. And I think that is much that we can cover in this act. Just tune in and be free to comment. Be ready for the discussion on the next Act 3. And in case there is something I did not explore right or something left in Act 1 or 2, feel free to bring me back because I'm there to serve you and ensure that the content you receive will add value. And I'm also happy that I would want to hear from you. So feel free to comment, critique, and add other aspects just below so that we can build this channel and also share a lot and have students getting the right information. Bye bye for now.